What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flipped Lifestyle Podcast. It is great to be back with you again today. I am so excited for our guest today. I've been pumped. I actually, when I made this Zoom appointment, I actually put her name in it with about 1,000 exclamation points because I get to talk to this person all the time, and she's one of my favorite people in the entire world. And we are going to be celebrating an amazing success story today of her making $60,000 in a single month, and a lot of that coming from her membership site. Nikki Roush, how you doing, friend?
I am doing so good. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with both of you.
It's so good to see you, and we're not just voxing each other.
I know.
I hear your voice all the time, and now I get to see you in person.
Yeah. So before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about how we met, because the two of us actually met before you were a part of our membership. Mm-hmm. And we met, I think it was like a couple of years ago out in California. And Nikki, she was like the sweetest thing ever. She like came up to me and she was like, "I love your show." And I was like, "Okay, thanks." So give me your take on that.
Okay, so my take on it was before I go to a conference, I always make a list. I call it my Strive 5 list of like, who are the people I most want to like connect with, get to know, or like build some type of relationship. And when I heard that you were coming to this conference, I was beside myself, first of all. So I know that you were being really kind in the way that you explained that I did it, because I pretty much fangirled all over you big time. And I still tell the story about it today. Like I tell people all the time, like, I just waited for my moment to go up and introduce myself to Jocelyn. And then when we were riding back on the bus, like you had an open seat next to you, and I almost walked past you because I felt so shy. But I was like, I'm going to sit next to her just in case I can talk to her some more. And yeah, so you're being nice, but I definitely fangirled all over you.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was something that I'm not really used to because, it's just
because nobody in our hometown really knows what we do. We keep it like whenever we run ads in our hometown, we draw a 25-mile area circle
and we exclude it
to make sure that like people can we can keep anonymity and secret all of our stuff that we're doing. And that is so funny.
Yeah, and I don't know. There were a few different people at that event. It was a women's event, and everybody was just so sweet to me.
For me, it was such a stretch. And also because I had been a listener of your podcast. So Jocelyn is really, candid about the introverted side of her, and she doesn't really like a lot of that like attention. And so I was trying to hold back, but at the same time, I wanted her to know, like, you guys have made such an impression on my life. And you don't have the opportunity to tell the people who make such a big impact that you don't have like that direct relationship. You rarely get to tell them. And so I always try to take those moments to let people know when they've made a positive impact in my life. So it felt like a big stretch to sit next to her, but man, am I glad I did.
Oh, I am too. I am so glad you did.
I'm so glad I did.
Yeah, we've become such good friends, and relationships been just and so many good things have happened, which we're going to talk about today. Since then, I actually have I'm going to if you want to check out the show notes of today's podcast, I actually have a picture of the exact moment where me and Nikki met in person. And it is hysterical.
It is the best picture ever.
It is the best picture ever. Like just the glee on your face. And I'm smiling.
It's so sweet.
It's so sweet. It's an amazing
Bless
picture.
Your heart, sister.
I know, right? Yeah. But go ahead.
I was going to say, I always tell people, if you ever see the picture of me meeting Shane Sams, you would think that I was a 4-year-old meeting Santa Claus. Like that is the glee on my face in this picture. Like it was the perfect captured moment of like, here is Nikki and her most extreme joy of meeting it was, and if somebody had captured the picture of me meeting Jocelyn, it would have been the same expression on my face. But the fact of meeting you, and that I love that picture so much because it makes me feel like a little kid meeting her, like her idol.
Oh my gosh, don't do that. No. Yeah, Jonathan's like, don't meet this guy.
Well, and I think that now after getting to know us, that we're pretty people. Just normal
pretty laid
individuals.
Back.
The best people. The best people.
Well, let's talk about some big success stories, because you've had success after success after success. Like I've walked this path with you now for like, what has it been like? I think November of 2018. Is that when you?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Something like that. I don't know. Whenever we started working one-on-one, like in Boxer and stuff, like it's been a long time. But I've just watched you crush every single task over and over and over again. But you had an incredible success back in February of this year in 2020. So I'm gonna turn this over to you. I want you to tell everybody, like, what the catalyst was.
Well,
for
first of all, what do you do?
Oh yeah. That's good. That's a really good point. All right. So tell everybody a little bit about you, your background, and what you do, and the books you write, and what you actually teach.
So I'm a sales coach and trainer and now podcaster. And my background is I have 25 years of sales experience. And I also am a master practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming, which, if that's a new term to anybody listening, it's essentially the study of communication. And when I started my business in 2013, it was really from meeting amazing entrepreneurs that I found were really struggling to make money in their business. And oftentimes it was because they didn't understand the sales process. And I'd been selling for so long that it's like when you start doing something for so long, it starts to feel like second nature. And I realized actually through this process that I do have the ability to teach and break things down into structure. So now that's what I do is I teach entrepreneurs how to walk people through the sales process. And I have a 5-step approach to it. I call the Selling Staircase, which was my 3rd book that I just launched this last summer. And yeah, that's what I do. Teach sales.
And historically, though, you were doing this a lot of like one-on-one or in-person training. Like that's kind of how your business was before you got into the community, right?
Oh, totally. My business was one-on-one. And then I would, every once in a while, I'd teach a workshop or teach a course that might be like a 5-week course. But yeah, the concept of membership, it really never occurred to me until I started listening to your podcast.
Yeah. So you were doing a lot of time for dollars type of work.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of the best way to do this, because this is your story is, you have so many cool like wins, right? Like let's talk about February and then we'll go back in time. Okay. All right. So the only preface you need to know is Nikki's got a membership now. We're going to talk about about that later, but she's got a membership. So February, you had a little catalyst, right? You had an expense, and I might have been a part of this, right? But like, so we were having a conversation, and take it from there and tell me what happened.
Okay, so because I've coached with you on Voxer, you had sent me something on Voxer that completely blew my mind. And I was like, Shane, this is amazing. People will pay you thousands of dollars to learn this. Like, this should be your high-end offer. And you said, will you pay me thousands of dollars if I put on a mastermind? And I was like, yes, I will. And I think you even asked me, how much would you pay? And I was like, well, I'll pay you $5,000 right now. And then you're like, would you pay me 10? And I was like, well, I might have to think about 10, but let me know. And
hey, you got to ask, right? Like,
right,
you gotta
which
ask.
I love. I love that about you, right? I love this ability. I love sales and I love sales conversations. And I actually like to be sold to when it's done in an authentic like way about, there's a care and you understand the need and all of that. So,
and especially if you're being sold something that has massive value, like
massive.
It sounds crazy. Like when we were having this conversation, 1, I hadn't even thought of this being a product. 2, nothing existed. And 3, when you said 5,000, I was like, well, maybe it's worth 10. And because I was thinking about the ROI, I was like, well, if you do this, it's going to make you more than 5 back, right? Like that's what we were thinking,
Yeah, and like,
which
honestly,
is easy to say until you part with the money, right? Then you're like, oh crap.
And honestly, the end product where we threw in a bunch of bonuses, it ended up being worth a lot more than that. I think.
Way more.
Way more. All right. So anyway, long story short, I whip up a sales page. I mean, I literally got off of Voxer
one day.
I just whipped up
maybe
a little
1 hour.
an order form, and I sent it to you. And I was like, if you buy this, like, if you vote with your wallet, I will sell this. I'll put 15 other business owners in the room. We will meet in Florida, and I will teach this whole thing from beginning to end. Because I had just shown you like 1/10 of 100th of the product, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
The thing that blew your mind. So what did you do?
So I paid it, and then I started to kind of panic because I hadn't budgeted for this business expense. I was like, oh my gosh. So then I was like, Shane, I gotta figure out how to earn this money back. Like, I gotta do something.
Well, because you have somebody in your business who kind of like looks over your shoulder about stuff like that, right?
Oh, my CFO. I didn't even tell her that I was spending this money. And then I was like, oh my gosh, now I have to go to my CFO. And like, cause usually I just, it's not like she decides what I spend money on, but we talk about it and she helps me make better strategic decisions. Because I like to be sold. So I'm kind of an easy sell if it's something of massive value, right? But sometimes she goes like, slow your roll, sister. Like, you don't need to spend so much money so fast.
Do you think she would have told you to slow your roll in that conversation if you had told her first?
She might have made me think a little bit more about it. Although I will say, because we talk about my expense of working with you, like it's come up in multiple conversations, and I tell her, look, Shane and I had one conversation this month, and this is how much money it made me. And I'm like, even if I only talk to Shane once a month, it always pays for itself. So she's a fan also now, because I
would have got away with this one's what you're saying. Basically.
You probably would have got away, because it was you.
What a weird, surreal moment too, because like this is hilarious, because I'm like, would you buy it? And you're like, I'd buy it. How much would you give me? $5,000. Prove it. Here's an order form. Here's $5,000. Shane, how do I make $5,000 back? That's exactly. I'm telling you, it's like I could probably go somehow edit all the. I bet I still have the messages. I could go back and look, and maybe I can edit them into a bonus opt-in for this podcast of that conversation. But like, it was crazy, but we did. So like, I had actually just written the membership masters for the month we were talking, which maybe it was January or February. I don't even remember. But like, I hadn't published it yet. It hadn't been sent, whatever I was working on. Yeah. But I was like, hey, I know exactly how you can make this back. I'm not mailing it out. I've not mailed it out yet, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you what it is. So tell everybody what we threw together and what happened.
So you explained to me how I needed to sell some lifetime memberships, and that was how I was going to make my money back. And you kind of walked me through the process, which is exactly what you teach in the Membership Masters. And so I just remember like going to bed that night, laying in bed in the middle of the night, trying to figure out like, can I turn this off? Like, can I just do this? Like, I've never offered lifetime membership ever. I didn't know what to do, but you just like laying it out the way it's laid out in Membership Masters. That was it. So within 2 days, I had my offer out, and within the first 2 days of the offer being out, I made back my $5,000. So I was like, whew, okay, made back my $5,000. And then within, I think 4 days, I had tripled my investment. And then ultimately within about 7 or 8 days, I had made $47,000.
That is,
oh man, that's amazing.
Pretty incredible.
That's when you spend 5 and you make 47 back within a week.
I would say that's a good
return
on investment.
That's a pretty good ROI. You can't do that in the stock market right now. I'll tell you that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my CFO loves you. Like, there's no doubt about, because she was like, what? I was like, this is Shane. This is
what I do.
Masters.
Yeah. And and the whole month, that month though, like counting all your other members and all of your sales stuff and everything, like you made like 60 grand or something, didn't you?
Yeah. It was actually more than 60 grand. Best month I've had in my business. It was incredible. And there were so many things that, it's just following that, like following the structure that you give.
And what's amazing about it too, I love your perspective is so good. Like if everyone, like you're one of the people I always like brag on about, like, man, this is the attitude that every entrepreneur really needs, is 1, taking action, but 2, perspective about beyond the money. You were saying to me the other day, and this is one reason why you don't offer a lifetime membership all the time. That's actually not a great thing to do. Maybe once a quarter, you want to have something like a lifetime offer, because what you're really trying to identify are your super fans. You're really trying to identify the people in your audience. And I want to stress too, like Nikki doesn't have like some huge audience or huge list, right? Like this is a smaller list.
Yeah, I have a pretty small list. My list is, I think it's about 2,800.
Yeah. I mean, it's a list of 2,800 and you make 47,000 in a week. Like I tell people this all the time. You don't have to have 100,000
they think
people.
They have to have like 1 million people on a list to make money.
You have to have enough marketing and structure to identify your fans and your super fans. Like that's all you have to do. And you only need 100 to 200 of those people to make a really good living. And like, but you said something amazing after all these people came in and you had been working with them for a couple months. The lifetime members created this core group of people that love your stuff inside and out, enough to say, I'm in it for life, right? And that's created like an amazing culture in your membership community now too, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I could not be more thrilled and I feel blessed every day with the culture and what's going on inside my membership. Like these, especially these core lifetime members, they're engaged, they support each other in addition to, being fans and being so gracious with me and wanting to learn from me. But then also they offer their expertise in the group. It's just created, the culture inside my membership I don't even think I could have dreamed for it to be as good as it is. And I'm just so grateful every day for it.
And like that goes back to that, people who pay attention, and people who invest back. And it creates this circle of reciprocity. Memberships are amazing. And like, I know I talk about them all the time, everywhere that I go, but like it's that community and that leadership and that mix with content that just creates some kind of magic internet potion that everybody wins from. Like everyone wins. If you're in the membership, if you lead the membership, if you're a part of the membership, like everybody wins when you build this kind of community around your business. So let's back up just a minute. We'll come back to this in a minute and talk more about it. But let's back up to before you launched your membership. Okay. So you had a business, you were doing sales, you were doing things like that.
A lot of time for dollars.
A lot of time for dollars, things like that were happening.
Yeah.
But what made you, besides us talking about it all the time?
Besides Shane telling you have to.
You have to start a membership. Because that's the first words out of my mouth. I'm like, hi, I'm Shane Sams.
You're going to start a membership when I finish talking to you.
Yeah, I got a funny story about that. A live event I went to recently. But tell her, what made you, one, want to start your membership? And two, when was the moment you realized, holy cow, this could become the biggest part of my business and actually support everything else that I want to do?
Okay, so when I realized, it was originally because of my private VIP clients. That was how this first inkling of it was, because two of my VIP clients had set me down and had a conversation. They're like, look, we want a continuous way to have access to you, Nikki, and we can't just re-up for VIP over and over again. So what would that look like? And I will make moves pretty quickly in my business. If clients say, this is what I want from you, if I want to do it, if I can do it, usually I'll figure out a way to make an offer around it. So I first launched it as a kind of a group coaching program. And then I put this membership component where it was this reoccurring. And really, again, that was because I was listening to your guys' podcast. And I remember there's so many times when I've been driving in my car, listening to your podcast, talking back to you guys, and then having to pull over and write out a note for something you said. And it was all these ideas that I was getting off the podcast that I started thinking oh, it doesn't just have to be coaching. Oh, there can be this curated content component. Oh, there can be these, training videos. Oh, it could be this and this. And so, that went okay for a while. And then it was after I actually went to the first Flipped Lifestyle Live event, so 2018, when I started, I guess, just hearing and meeting all these people that were doing it, I started thinking this actually could become the core of my business. Not that I don't still like to work with private clients, but like Jocelyn said, at some point you're just trading time for dollars, and it's hard to really amplify and build that to a certain point.
And and with you especially, because you have such a really strong message and you're dialed into the niche and the avatar that you support, your influence is limited with VIP and one-on-one clients.
Yeah, because I'm working with, women entrepreneurs. That's my target market. And they are, been in business for at least a year. So they have some understanding that there is a sales component to building a business, right? So they need some help with that. So it was really after the first live event that I was like, I'm going to really commit to this. And I had hired you. I'd hired you guys for the Voxer access. And so I was like, anytime I pay money for something, I'm in. I'm going to commit. I'm going to figure out a way to make my money back. That's just my mentality. I will spend money to make money.
Yeah. Oh, I spent $5,000, 60 grand back, right?
Yeah. And so it was after the first. So then I think just trying to figure it out. What was I going to spend my time on? How was I going to attract the members? And really, the other thing about the membership is that it's a low point of entry, and it's a way for me to help the masses learn how to sell better without having, because sometimes people, it doesn't matter how much they want to hire me, they just don't have the, capacity financially to bring me on to do private coaching with them. And so this is a way for them to get some access, to learn some skills that is going to grow their business, to get them to the place that then if they want to hire me for private coaching, they're ready.
Yeah.
So that was the other
I
thing.
think that it also helps you to identify the people who are like your super fans. And, then you can ask those people, okay, well, what else would you like to see from me? And that gives you an opportunity to then sell them higher ticket products and services.
Yeah. There's this feedback loop that generates, like, the membership is I love the word that you use there, calling it the core part of your business. Like, that doesn't mean other things aren't really important, right? Like we have coaching. You know what I'm saying? We have the Membership Masters subscription, but there's other things that we do. We have the live events, right? Like, that's a whole part of our business. But like the membership feeds that. Like, it's like this never-ending supply of other ideas and opportunities that just don't exist when you only have an audience. Like, I've actually been thinking about this new way to frame this. Ooh, I'm so glad I get to debut this on Nikki's podcast, Jocelyn. Okay, you have to, you can build an audience. Like, you can get attention, right? Like, let's go back one step. You can get attention. You can have a meme go viral on your Facebook page, right? Like, something happened, oh, wow, 100,000 people shared that. That's crazy. Something happened, right? But that's just attention. And attention really doesn't make you any money. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then you can turn attention into audience. So this would be more like people who pay attention to you regularly. Like, they listen to your podcast, they follow you on Facebook, they're on your YouTube channel. Like, that's an audience, right? But still, an audience doesn't make you much money. Like, an audience, maybe you have an ad or something, but like, the audience isn't going to make you a living, right? But the second that you turn your audience into a member, right? The audience is kind of, they're with you. They're kind of, what's happening over there, but like, a member is in the club. They've walked through the gate and they're a part of the family.
And they've cared enough to part with something of value to them,
yes,
which is money, and to get something of value in return.
Right. So they go, you're right there in like your member, right? There's one step in between, which is a subscriber. That's someone who has done something that they want more from you, whether it's the notification bell, they subscribe to your podcast, they join your email list. Like, that's kind of the in between. But the real goal is to get someone from an audience to a member. But then what happens is something very spectacular. And this is the true magic of the membership model. You still have to turn that member and the group of members around them into a real community. And oh my goodness, when you have a community, you get to make money. You get to make a living, because your community will go anywhere with you, right? It's like you call for a family reunion or a cookout. Everybody's showing up with a pot of chicken. You know what I mean? Like, it's happening. Like, a bucket of chicken. I mean, I was trying to think of potluck and a bucket of chicken. Bucket of chicken at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
Kentucky.
Potluck, bucket of chicken.
You can't bring a pot.
But like, when you turn those members into a community, you have like I can right now, during this podcast, I could send an email and say I have 3 spots open for my one-on-one coaching, and I would sell them. And I would send that email only to my members. And I know for sure that those spots would fill. And it's not because we have customers, it's because we have a community. Like, that's what it's all about. And like, your first members, you're building that. Like, it's kind of unstable. Some people come, some people go, and it grows.
Everybody's trying to figure things out.
Yeah, you're trying to figure out, is this the place for me? Am I the right leader for these people? But then all of a sudden, you feel it around 100 members, right? You feel this community emerging. And once you have that community, you can sell them anything. That's fine, because they know you're going to give maximum value. Like, when I said, Nikki, give me $5,000, and I don't even know what this is going to look like yet. You're like, let's go, because you're a community
member. The only thing I have is a sales page,
right?
Give me $5,000.
And like, but then, because I'm going to deliver value back, you trust me to serve the community, right? And that's what it's all about. Is that what you found inside of your membership?
Yes, 100%. And also I want to share just a little story, if I could, which is being at Flipped Lifestyle, the live event this last year in 2019. On stage, Jocelyn challenged me that I wasn't allowed to leave the event until I hit 100 members. And I did. I hit 100 members at your event because she was like, Nikki Roush. Like she set up on stage and I was like, oh, she just called me out.
Called me out, baby.
I better do this. And so what you just said about like, once you get to that 100 member mark, you really start to see some magic happen. And that's been my experience. And you've talked with me about this a lot, where it's like, it's not they're in the membership and they're done. Right? That's the foundation. Those are the bricks. Like you're laying the bricks and then now you're going to build all these other things. And so this last year, making offers out to my community they are, they fill 90% of my spots for just about everything because they're in and then they bring in other people. They're like, look, you need to be learning with Nikki too. And here's the stuff that she's done in my business. So come along. And then people are more likely, I think, to take a chance if they haven't been exposed to me. So my community it's because of my community that my business has really thrived this last year.
That's amazing. Well, listen, let's go back. Now let's go back to February. All right.
Okay.
So how did things, we have quite a few people who have became lifetime members over the years for different reasons, right? Like we've made it a part of offers before, right? Like your lifetime membership in the Flip Your Life community. We've sold it before at times.
We gave it to our beta group members just because they believed in us from the beginning.
That's right. Like we basically, when we launched the community, we just told our beta members, as long as you log in regularly, you will be a member forever. Right. And it's crazy because like, I remember last year at Flip Your Life Live in 2019, I looked out and like 5 of the people in that room were literally people who had bought our first course that we pre-sold
like 6
with
years
an
ago.
outline 6 years ago. And like that's what those core members, those lifetime members really mean. So like how did the culture of your community shift when all those lifetime members came in? So you're about a month in now with all those people, a month or two of all those lifetime people. But I've heard you gush about this like lately. Like how did that really like cement the community?
It's almost like it took the pressure off of them. Like actually, I even had a conversation with one of the members and she said, I was feeling kind of guilty because I've been so busy, building my own business that I haven't really engaged. And when you made this offer to do lifetime membership, it took the pressure off of me to force myself to engage. And now she just engages, right? Because there's no more like, I'm paying money for this. I need to get some value out of it. But now it's just when she engages, it's amazing and she has some great insight or she'll ask a great question. So that has been really powerful too, of having this core group of people. And then again, it's this other piece of, when somebody posts a question in the group now, oftentimes they'll say, this question is for Nikki and everybody else, right? They want my feedback and they want other people's feedback, which again is just this like, it's like a snowball effect of resources that keep coming out of the community. So the lifetime members have just been phenomenal.
What's amazing is like that shift in a community. And we see this, like the longer your community exists, other leaders rise up in your community. We actually did this at Flip Your Life Live last year. We named table leaders, which you helped us. You know what I mean? Like we named table because you become this like known person, right? And my favorite thing is when I see members tag those kind of members, right? Like Jeanette Stein is a long-time member of the Flip Your Life community, and I see people will tag her. You know what I'm saying? And like that's epic. Like that's next level when you see leaders emerge organically in your community, and not from a selfish thing. It's just pure reciprocity. Like they love your membership and they love helping the other members because you've done so much for them.
And I think that some people at the past year's event, because we didn't have the table leaders the year before, I think that some people were more excited to see the table leaders than they were to see us. And we loved it.
So the first year when we walked in to the Flip, so we have this at our live events, we'll have these work sessions, right? Like where everybody's in the room and we're taking massive action on what we learned that day. And like, so the first year, me and Jocelyn, we waited a little while and let everybody get settled. We walked in and we got mobbed, right? And it was almost impossible to get to everybody. The second year at the live event, I walked in. I was there like 10 minutes before anybody even noticed.
We're just like hanging out in the back.
Everybody's just hanging out. I'm like, hey, everybody. And I was like, and we've got like a security guy that comes with us. And I was like, man, we could leave. You want to go get a coffee? Like, we want to go get a coffee? But like
nobody would even care.
But it was but the reason was everyone was so engaged with each other. And it was like people they had talked to virtually. And they were just like, they were so excited to sit with their friends. And then like every other table had a table leader, and like you were talking sales and someone else was talking tech and someone else was, and like we had kind of talked about it on stage a little bit. And like everyone was just like so engaged and taking massive like action that they were just like talking to each other. And like we even had a VIP dinner where it was like 25 people in a room, right? And like it was so funny, like everybody just talked to each other. It was just epic. Like everyone just loved being around the community. And that's when I looked over at Jocelyn during that dinner, and I go, look at this. And everybody was laughing and having a good time. And we were up there by, just sitting at the top. And I was like, they're all talking to each other. I was like, we've created a real community here.
And it's not because we don't want to talk to our people. We love talking to you guys. But what the cool thing is that we have attracted this group of people who all get along together. And that's when the magic really starts happening in your membership community.
That's a really good point. I'd like to ask you this too. Because when we were formulating the initial idea for the Sales Maven community or whatever, right?
Yeah.
People discount how important fundamentals are, right? Like how important was it that we got the avatar completely right at the beginning? Like not just, I mean, you're a seasoned business owner. You're one of the best entrepreneurs that I've had the privilege to meet in the online space. And but even that, when we were talking about like the who is this, and getting the avatar right, getting the idea right, differentiating it from the one-on-one and even the group coaching, right? Like how important do you think those fundamentals were then to create the community that you truly have emerging now, a year and a half later?
Well, it wouldn't have happened. That's the thing. Like without the fundamentals, the community would not be where it is today, because I had dipped my toe in the water before I hired you. And before I even joined the Flip Lifestyle community, to have this kind of membership piece just from listening to the podcast. And I think I had 17 members, right? Like, and they weren't very engaged, but that's because I didn't really have all of the foundation pieces that I needed. So it wasn't until I started putting these foundation pieces in place, and it didn't happen overnight either. It's not like I went from, 17 members to 150 members. Like there was a process to that, and like figuring that out. But that was the brilliance of having somebody who helped me figure out my foundation and what I needed to know.
I remember I do remember discussions when we first started talking about this. I remember me and you having a lot of discussions about content. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, that's usually where most membership conversations start, but it's so funny how they don't end there. Like it's like, that's such a small piece of the actual membership model. Like, because like you've written how many books have you written?
3.
Jeez, that amazes me. I've started I can't even write one, Nikki. You got 3. I'm so jealous. But like you're a content creator. You're a content machine, clearly, right?
I love content.
Yeah, so do I, man. I love making content.
We can create content all day long.
All day. But I at some point when we started out, right, like we realized that it wasn't about the content. And actually, you don't want to teach everything you know in your curated content blueprint, because you want to open the community to let it breathe a little bit and let them ask questions and let them even if it's the same questions
and
over and over.
Better stuff comes out of that. You know, like we could have told you something one way, and somebody in the community might say, you know what, I've done it this way, and I think that might work better for you. And that's the cool thing about a community, is that we can all collaboratively, that's a hard word to say. We can all do that, and say, okay, well, my experience is this, my experience is this, and because of that, I can formulate a new opinion in my head.
So with all that said, that's where we all start. That's where we started. But like, what would you, if you could go back in time and tell yourself, or you could tell somebody like starting out who's looking at this and like, man, a year and a half from now, I would love to have 150 to 200 members. I'd love to be offering lifetime offers to a small list and make $50,000.
Exactly. Yes.
Like, what do you think was something you wish you had done at the very beginning that would have that you wish you had done faster, or you wish you had done sooner? Besides offering a lifetime offer to your
Yeah.
list.
Yeah. I think one of the things was that realization that you just said, that it isn't so much about the content. I think I put too much emphasis on the content up front, and really I'm finding more and more what people want is me, or they want access to me, and then now in the community too. And so through you and the things that you've encouraged me to do, of like giving my members opportunities to ask me questions and doing it in a live setting. And I wasn't really doing that stuff before because I thought, well, that's premium, you got to pay, to do that. And then having these opportunities as a group for them to get together, and also it helps build community. So sometimes I think I wouldn't have invested as much money as I invested building the content that I built because, like Jocelyn just said, like my content continues to evolve. And even, the videos and the content that I put in, 2.5 years ago, it's still good content, but it's better today because I can make changes to it. So I think I would have put less emphasis on the content and more around really focused on building that culture and that community, and like figuring out that core thing. What was the thing that people really wanted from me, and giving that and making that the emphasis.
Yeah. And like selling, see, that's the thing, is selling when people try to first start a membership, the biggest mistake, this is the number one mistake, and everybody out there listening, if you have a membership, you will probably agree with this.
And you've probably done it.
And you've probably done it. The biggest mistake is trying to say, I've got a course, I'll put it in the membership and charge monthly. That's not a course, that's not a membership, guys. That's a payment plan for a course. And as soon as that payment plan runs out, or as soon as they feel like they've got their course and they've watched it, they're out. That's not what people stay for. They come for the courses, but they stay for the people. And the people they want most, and initially, is you, because that's your audience that we've turned into members. But the people they stay for are the other people in the community. That's what it's all about.
And over time, there will be those superstars in the community, and that's the cool thing about it.
Yeah. So how many member calls do you have a month?
Well, typically I have at least one. Right now, with everything going on, I'm doing one a week.
Okay. And then how long are those member calls usually?
They're usually between 45 minutes and an hour and a half. I mean, I love questions. That's kind of my jam, and I will stay as long as they ask me questions.
Okay. And what Nikki means, we're recording this during the quarantine and social distancing efforts during the COVID-19 crisis. So,
yeah.
So like us, we've done the same thing. We've went to once a week. We're usually twice a month, right? But here's what's crazy. And another question people always say is, oh, it's so much work to do a membership. No. Nikki has one call a month where she shows up for the people that show up and answer questions. And I would guess, just like our member calls, we had I think 98 showed up on Tuesday. And we had about, I think it was 13 questions, right? Not everyone is going to ask a question every time, but we set a limit and we answer as many as we can. And then we just say, hey, if we didn't get your question, go put it in our community, whether that's a Facebook group or a forum, and we'll all chime in. And everybody does that, and everyone's always happy. So it's not like you have to sit for an 8-hour marathon session, answer every single question. It's just the leader is showing up. The community is together, and they can continue being together virtually in between those member calls. And that's infinitely scalable. Like if you go to 1,000 members, which you are going to, by the way, that's where we're going, Nikki. I'm just telling you that. But
I'm ready.
Let's do it. But as we grow, we get to 200, 500, 1,000, whatever it ends up being. The membership scales infinitely, because you're still going to show up for the same amount of time. You're still going to answer the same amount of questions. Those people are still going to post their questions in the community, and everyone feels like they're getting access to you. If they want more access, you've got somewhere for them to go get that, but they still get all their questions answered. And that's what most people want. They just want someone to listen, find an answer, feel like they're a part of a community. And if you do those three things, you will have people that pay like month after month, year after year, or even on a lifetime deal. So yeah. Where are we going next? Where are we at right now? Like what is your goal right now? And is there anything that we can help you with? I'm sure I'm going to talk to you tonight on Voxer anyway. But is there what is the next step, do you think, for you and your membership? Because you really are at that. Oh man, the roots are coming out into the dirt now, and it's really starting to take off. So what do you think happens next?
Well, for me, I want to double my membership, right? I want to get it to 300 people. And the ultimate goal, I think my big goal is 2,000. And I was going to add kind of on what you had said is, 2 years ago, I was trading so much time for dollars that I was really feeling like I could never have a business that was, $500,000, $1 million business, because I just couldn't work that much. Like, it was too much work. And this last year, by really transitioning my focus to my membership, it has allowed me so much more freedom in my life and in my business that I have been able to do some things that, like, start my podcast. Like, if 2 years ago, I had no capacity to start a podcast, none. And now I'm like, I could record an episode today. I've got some time on my schedule, right? Like, it's completely changed the way that I work. So this idea where, 2 years ago, if you had said, like, Nikki, let's get you 300 members in your membership, I would have been like, no way, I can't work that hard. But like what you just said, it's not about working more. It's just providing value and letting these people show up and have the people who have the questions ask it and provide value. And it's about
finding a way to serve at scale. That's what memberships are. You're serving at scale. Like, I can serve one person, and I can serve 10 hours a day and serve 10 people, or I can serve 1,000 people in 1 hour a day. I can do that. We literally can do that. Like, we don't have a huge, like, giant team. We got one person that helps us check the forums, and then me and Jocelyn show up for member calls and in the community.
We have a podcast editor.
And we have a podcast editor. Like, it's not like we have to have this massive team for an infinitely scalable business. And what's amazing is people get massive results, and the ripples we can throw one stone, hit hundreds of people, and then their ripple fires out from there. And that's the membership model is less energy and it is less work if you build it correctly.
And then when you do get to the point where you start getting more and more members, then you just scale the leadership. So, if you're serving X members and you get 2 X members, then you bring on another person to serve X members.
Yeah, it's a community manager, and you just teach them, like, your ways, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the idea of having a community manager. I don't feel like I need one now, but I do like the idea. So I guess maybe that would be my question is, what would you say is important to, like, foster or help develop that community manager?
So for us, that's actually something that we are working on now.
We've had a community manager in the past. Her name was Kat Jarman, and she was amazing. But
she started her own.
Yeah,
agency.
What happens when you hang around me and Jocelyn a while, you just start your own business and it grows. And, like, so she created her own business and went and ran it. So she became a CEO.
She's still one of my best friends.
Yeah, right. And then we have one community manager, like, now, who manages the daily comments.
And just make sure everyone gets a response.
Yeah. So, like, what are our 3 goals for the person who is in the forums every day? That would be probably a good way to frame it.
First of all, I want it to be someone who is familiar with us, someone who knows our values and, like, really, really prioritizes that when they're working with our members. I want to make sure that everyone who posts gets a reply. It may not be the 100% answer to their question. Maybe that person doesn't know the answer to their question, but they know that it might be contained in module ABC. So they point that person to module ABC. They get some kind of answer every day. So I don't want there ever to be a day where there are posts with no reply. I would say my perfect world is to have someone to check up on their members. So, like, for instance, one person might be responsible for, say, 200 members, and their goal that month would be to contact every single one of those members and ask what they need, if there's anything we can do for them, that type of thing. So instead of being more of a reactive business where people come with customer service problems, it's more of a proactive approach to business. And I think that in today's society, most people are going away from that. They want fewer interactions with their customers or more automated interactions. And instead, I want to have more personalized interactions and, actually work with people and talk to them.
Weren't you just teaching him yesterday to do cards or something? What were y'all doing yesterday?
Yeah. So you just said teaching too.
Teaching?
Yeah.
Y'all teaching over there? Hey, Jim. Y'all doing?
But yes,
I am redneck authentic to the day I die, baby. I don't care what it is.
we hire our nephew. His name's Devin. You guys have probably gotten some videos from him. He's a college student. And, we've been hiring him just on a part-time basis to kind of fill in some of those needs for us while we're in between full-time people. But one of the things that he's going to be doing for us is I just purchased a big quantity of cards to send to people during this time, just to ask how they're doing, tell them we're thinking about them. And the two of us, me and Devin and myself, we are going to be handwriting those and sending them out to our members. So if you're one of our members, you may have already gotten it by now, depending on when this airs, but we are going to be sending those out to people. So
and the goal is to get them to reply back, like, tell us how you are. Like, are you okay? Like, we
just want more human touch.
Yes.
And more human interaction.
Yeah, and like that's something that's like, stuff like that is so easy to do, and it's really easy to hire out in a community manager. Like, we're hiring. We're going to call it a director of retention. We just created a new position, and we kind of what we did was we took our audience management, which is our public facing, the audience, the social people, right? And we combined that with customer service and the community manager. So we created this director of retention role, and the goal was to be super proactive about going out and extending lifetime value and letting people know, like, we really care and like we want to reach out to you. It's just can you build the capacity? And that's what a community manager or a director of retention really can do. And also too, don't think of your community manager as just someone who goes over and takes care of the community so you don't have to. That's not what it's all about. It's actually hiring a shepherd for the flock, right? It's hiring a leader. And we actually consider that role internal marketing. You have to keep selling the value of your membership every month, right? It's easy to get them in the month. Now we earn their money every month. So consider it a marketing role.
Instead of just welcoming someone into your membership and then being like, okay, welcome. It's been great to have you. And I hope that you keep paying for a long time and then I never see you. That's what we don't want. What we do want is people to be, we want to communicate with them. We want to let them know, hey, did you know that we have a course about this? Here's the link to it right here. The member of the month is this person. We chose this person as the member of the month because of these reasons. We want to constantly remind them that, yes, there are people taking action on these items. There are people who are being successful, and we want you to be successful too.
Yeah. I would love to see over the next couple years us grow the community to like 10,000 people, right? And like, but at the same, and like the perfect team to me in the long-term vision for that would be community managers for every like 500 people, right? Those are like deacons in the church, right? The pastor can't take care of everybody. He can't go to every funeral, right? There's too many people if your church gets too big. So those are like your deacons. Like those are our community managers. So those are like people, they're like paid moderators. They're watching the community. They're helping people find courses. They're like ushers almost in a building. They're trying to help people go around.
And most importantly, they help people to feel heard. That their voice actually matters.
Yep. And now before them, the first person you should help with is customer service. Like that's the first person everybody needs. How do I get logged in? How do I find this?
How do I update my credit card?
How do I update my credit card? Like you got to take care. That's the lowest level of the retention team, right? And I don't mean lowest level like bad. It's just that's the front line.
That's the foundation.
That's the foundation is a good customer service. The next level is good community management, like that, and that's the person that's being proactive, taking care of those people. I think that probably somewhere between 300 and 500, depending on the niche, is where that first one really needs to come in. I believe it needs to be the leader up to about 200 to 300 people. So you really understand what you want that person to do. Right. All right. So once you get there, you start getting some community management, and then you could probably survive. Community manager's good up to 1,000. It doesn't take that much time to get through doing those things.
And you just have to feel it out depending on what you want.
Every niche is different. Like I talked to someone the other day, they have a professional niche, and it's in the medical space. And she is legit, like, we've got to have a community manager for every 100 people, period. Because it's so technical what they're talking about. And, like, you can't get it wrong. Like, her community managers are actually nurses, right? Like, it's professional. But then you need a director of retention who is strategically thinking about marketing to your members every day so that they get enough value out that they believe it's worthy to pay the next
Just
month.
reminding them of all the cool stuff that's inside the community and incentivizing them to continue coming back.
So that team would look like, for just a general, like say if it's 2,000 people, which is your goal, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You might have eventually one, you're going to be making bank revenue. That's amazing. Like if you get it up to that, because like that's a lot of money, right? So you can use 25% of that money to go hire a great team. So you would take that and you would say, hey, I got a director of retention. I'm working toward maybe 4 solid part-time community managers, right, under that person. So those might be 20-hour-a-week people, and they each take care of 500 people, and you've got it spelled out. That's more of a that's an operator level job. So they're doing what you want them to do.
Basically checklists
And stuff.
Okay.
The retention person is working on emailing members, sending out a little folded paper newsletter to tell them about all the member calls and maybe highlight a course. Like they're really working hard in a marketing
That's going to be more of a strategic type job.
Strategic person. And then supporting those 2 levels is the admin support. That would be like customer service. So that would be like, you've got like maybe 1 or 2 customer service people behind. I think 2 customer service people is probably enough for a 2,000 person membership. And they're just taking care of, like, they're helping the retention manager with extra tasks. They're helping the community manager with customer service stuff. And like, all that system goes play. So I think for 2,000 people, that would be exactly what your team would look like, is like probably 2 customer service, 1 community manager per 500. That's 10 to 20 hours part-time. And then you've got a director of retention who manages both the community and all those people. And bam, you've got it. Like that would probably, for you, what I know about your community, I think you would just kill it. And like, what do you charge per month right now?
So I charge $97 a month right now.
But we're going to raise that eventually.
I know. I actually am. I was actually right on the verge of having this conversation with you prior to kind of everything shutting down.
Yeah, and we decided price increases would be bad.
Probably
right now.
Price increase not the best time.
Yeah, but I would like to get it to maybe $197 a month. I mean, there is huge value, and I am in there daily. One of the things I do for my group that, people pay me hundreds of dollars to do this a month for them privately, but they'll go in and post like, hey, Nikki, here's this email that I just got, and here's what I'm thinking about responding to this person from a sales perspective. Can you offer some edits? And I edit. Like I go in and go, let's change this. Let's change that.
See, that would be your community manager's job eventually. So you would almost hire from your community and get people you trust who you've trained yourself, and they would do some of that legwork for you, so that you can be more of like a vision at the top.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So 197 is where I'd like to get it.
Let's say we do a couple price increases over the next year to get it to that point, and the average member by the time we get to 2,000 is paying 147, because it's always going to be tiered. You know what I mean? Because you're letting some people in and some people in. So let's say like 25% of the people come in at the 197, 25% are at 147, 25 are at 90. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be a division there. But let's say the average member pays 147. We're going to times that by 2,000. Okay, so that would be $294,000 a month. And that is totally possible. Like that sounds insane, but like, it's only 2,000 people out of 4 billion on the internet, and everybody sells stuff, right? So I mean, like that's not like crazy numbers. That's 2,000 people paying you $147 a month. Let's half that, just so people can wrap their brain around it. Okay, so that would be $147,000 a month. Okay, so let's say that your director of retention, we'll say that's a $48,000 a year plus benefits job. Okay, so that would be, I'm just going to take $5,000 off of that $147 a month, right?
Yeah.
So minus 5,000. That's your director of retention. That's a $60,000 a year package. So that's a director level job. Now let's say that each of your community managers, what would you pay that? Like, I don't know, $30 an hour.
Sure.
Okay. So let's say that you
We're
pay.
Just making up numbers.
We're just making up numbers.
I like it. I like it.
So it's part-time, $30, 20 hours a week, each of the 4. Okay. So that's $600 a month.
We shouldn't try to do math.
2,400.
All right. So what's 2,400 times 4?
All
right, hold on.
That's math I can't do.
2,400 minus 2,400 minus 2,400 minus 2,400. All right, there you go. There's all those people that we've paid, right? We got 2 full-time customer service people probably at this point. Those are probably whatever the package looks like, it might be $3,000 a month. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
minus $6,000 more dollars. Okay. So we started out. So now you're in that entire retention team would run. We just took out their salaries, and with 1,000 people, you'd still be making $126,000 a month profit.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby.
That's the goal.
12. That'd be $1.5 million a year for Nikki. So like, and again, it's only 1,000 people. This is possible, yo. Netflix has 100 million people. You only need 1,000 to do that. And it is, and you've already got 150 of them or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's pretty epic, right? Pretty exciting.
It is super exciting. And I can't wait to see what my community looks like when I have this, this amazing core group of people, and then have 1,000 members or 2,000 members too. Just, and the biggest thing too, which I think is what you guys do, what you do, it's definitely why I do what I do, is that I help people make money. And that when people make money, they go out and they contribute in their communities and in their families, and that makes everybody's life better. So I love the idea of making that big of an impact in the world.
One of the best things you could do, and we'll start wrapping this up here, is one of the best things that you can do is we've found lately is draw out what you wish your team and company looked like and what you wish your membership looked like at 1,000 people. And it will motivate you every minute of every day to make that come to pass. And like, that's been motivating us so much lately, is what do we want this company to look like from a team perspective? Who are the humans that we want around us, and what would we pay them? And then how much money would we need to do that? And that's been really like taking us to the next level in like our efforts and energy. So
okay, I'm going to do that.
Awesome.
I'm going to do that.
Well, listen, Nikki, I love you. I'm so glad that you came on here, and we're just so proud of you. And like, I am honored to be a part of your journey, and Jocelyn feels the same way. And thank you for sharing that, because I think this is going to really inspire people of like what's possible. And I love that it's brick by brick. I don't like stories of people who are like, I did one thing and 5 minutes later I made all the money. Like, okay, well, do it again, right? But you have been literally laying the bricks and the foundation of this for 1.5 years now. It's starting to really explode, and these big, bold dreams are starting to emerge from what you've created. And you are truly, like, for me, one of the most inspirational people inside of our community. And we're thankful that you shared with everybody today.
Thank you for having me. And thank you to both of you for the impact that you have made in my life. I'm so grateful.
Hey, you listened to Nikki's success story today, and we would love for you to be our next success story, and maybe even feature you on the Flipped Lifestyle podcast. All of our guests come directly from success stories that are posted inside of the Flip Your Life community. If you would like a free month inside of the Flip Your Life community, all you have to do is go to flippedlifestyle.com/free, and we will give you 30 days inside of the community. Instant access, full membership. You get to come to every member call next month. You get to watch all of our training courses. And of course, you get access to the Flip Your Life community forums, where you can hang out with hundreds of other family-focused entrepreneurs online, building membership sites together. That's flippedlifestyle.com/free. We would love to see you inside. We'd love to see you at the next member call. And we would love to help you start a membership that could flip your life and change your family's future.